Hello everyone, and I'm doing it. I am doing my comparison video between Beyond Meat ground beef and Lightlife's ground beef. Now, if you just saw my video where I cooked up the Lightlife ground and I made some meatballs and I also just kind of sauteed it to see how it would turn out as a beef you could use in tacos, etc. I promised I would compare it to Beyond Meat. This is still, as of today, which is December 28th, 2 for $10 at Sobeys until January 1st. And I'm sure the stores are not open January 1st, so you better get there December 31st if you want that deal. This is $10. So they are both normally $10, but right now you can get 2 for $10. And, you know, it's time to stock up if you like that. At $5 a pack, it's really a good deal. So Beyond Meat here says it has 35% less fat than regular ground beef per 100 gram serving. And then this one says it has 77% less fat than regular ground beef. So they both have almost equivalent protein. The Lightlife has 20 grams of protein. This has 18 grams of protein. Both are soy-free. This is also 340 grams for this package, as is this. It's just a different size. You can see looking at this looks much more like a mush kind of product, if that's the best way to describe it. Whereas this is, you can see, looking like how beef looked. You know, minced. This looks minced versus this kind of looks like mashed. That's the best way to describe it. Okay, so let me compare well, this is Canadian. This is not. Let me compare the nutrition facts here, guys. Now, I'm going to leave this on the screen for a moment, and you can also pause it to check out the ingredients. But they are both soy-free and both pea protein based and coconut oil based. Now here are the nutrition facts. Beyond Meat is on the left, Lightlife on the right. They are very similar, but one does have more iron. There are a few differences in terms of specific nutrients, so just take a moment to take a look. Alright, so I've opened the Beyond Meat, and yeah, it really is like one kind of solid, reminds me of like, well, I never ate this, Spam. But if you ever ate corned beef and how the meat was all kind of mashed and stuck in a can, this is what the Beyond one looks like. And it does have that smell, but you know, the smell, I don't know, people say it's sort of like, this sounds gross, like cat food. I wouldn't say exactly, but I know what they're talking about. There's like a hint of whatever that smell is. That is your Beyond Meat smell. But that makes me feel good because I know how good that smell translates when it's cooked meat. This one doesn't quite have the same smell. So what I'm going to do is I'm using two different bowls. This will be for the Lightlife. This will be for the Beyond Meat. I'm going to just cut out a portion, okay? Or grab out a portion. Yeah. It makes me wonder how well it's going to crumble, the Beyond Meat one. But I think that's what I'll start with. Or maybe I'll start with the meatballs. Okay, so I'm just using a bit here. I'm going to season them up the same, and when I come back, you're going to see me starting to cook them on the stove. And I did figure that it's probably best to show you guys, or just to feel the differences in terms of making it. My daughter said, "Oh, that's the Beyond Meat. It looks like cat food." And I guess that's a really good description. I mean, it just looks like crushed up meat that's completely put into one salt thing. Will you pass me the salt, Chloe? But we don't expect it to taste like cat food. In fact, we know it won't. So I've just got the same thing on here. A bit of oregano, basil, paprika, garlic powder, and I'm putting a little bit of salt to both of them, so they should ultimately taste similar in terms of the profiles. And I think I'll start with one and I'll wash my hand off. But I just want to. Oh, I'm also putting breadcrumbs, guys. But I'm just feeling this for the time being. Like I said with the Lightlife, because of the consistency, you know, you don't need to worry about adding egg or anything. And you can see the one thing with the Beyond one is if you notice, it had like these white white pieces in there that look like pieces of fat, like how you would have in ground meat or even meat. And I guess that is from the coconut, so it really gives that, you know, this is meat effect to it. So obviously you can tell the consistency. The Lightlife does not feel as sticky. It still is nice and sticky in terms of you don't need to add anything else as a binder, but it is definitely drier than the Beyond. It's not as mushy. That's probably the best way to describe that. And can you see that? Maybe Chloe can do a zoom in. So this is the Beyond. Okay. And this is the Lightlife. Okay. This is a little bit more of a pinkish color. This maybe, that's the best way to describe it. This is kind of pinkish, but like, let's say with an orangey sort of hue to it. Anyway, guys, I'll add the breadcrumbs, and when you see me next, they will be formed into balls, and I'll start cooking them, and we'll test them out. All right, guys, this is what they look like, and I've made 4 of the Beyond Meat, which are on the right, and 4 of the Lightlife meatballs, which are on the left. Obviously, I added some breadcrumbs to both of them, and just to look at the Beyond Meat, you know, while it had first looked really, you know, just like mushed meat, I guess the moistness of it makes me realize this looks like it's going to be nice and juicy. But I'm going to fry them up both. I'll sizzle them up in the pan, brown them, and then I'm going to do what I did with the Lightlife alone. I'll put them in the toaster oven and just bake at like 350 for 10 minutes to make sure they're thoroughly cooked throughout, and see how that changes also the Beyond Meat. And I'll be back. Alright, so my pan is, oops. Okay, so my pan I started off at kind of like mid-high. Now I'm going to turn it down. I wanted to make sure the pan is nice and sizzly. The last time I cooked these, I felt I started off a bit too low. I just have it lightly oiled here. Okay. I'll show you some of the process just as I turn it and brown it, and we see how they look, compare the two of them, and we'll do the taste test soon. Okay, so one thing I've noticed is I've turned a couple of the Lightlife balls and a couple of the Beyond Meat balls. The Lightlife is a little harder to turn. Just sticks a little bit more to the pan. Now this is supposed to be a non-stick pan, but it's not exactly anymore. I still like the pan, but the Beyond Meat, if you noticed, just turns over nicely. So this is the Lightlife. I've got to kind of give it a little bit of a shove. I'm going to move it over here. Where's the Beyond Meat? It just turns. So the first one with the Lightlife, when I turned it, a little bit stuck to the bottom of the pan. And I haven't had any of that happening with the Beyond Meat. I have to tell you, it's already smelling really nice. Okay, so I'm just going to saute them all. See, again, the Lightlife, just have to kind of, see I lost a little bit right there. I don't know if you can see that, but just going to stick that back on there. It was the same thing the other day, I noticed, but I thought it was maybe the pan is just not as good anymore. But they are more crumbly, the Lightlife. Now, if you have a proper, fully non-stick pan, I mean, which this is supposed to be, but, you know, it might turn more easily. But, as I said, so far, Beyond Meat, no issues with turning this. Alright, so I feel like I'm getting a little glare from the tin foil, but if you can see, the Beyond ones definitely, I'd say right off the bat, this looks like a meatball. You know, it looks like a beef ball with the coloring. This one looks a little bit, you know, lighter, that's all. And it doesn't quite look like this. This I would see in a shop or wherever and think it's a meatball just to look at it. This I might question what kind of meat it is. Maybe it's not the same. This is beef, this is maybe something else. But they both look good and they smell good. And I'm just going to fry them up or cook them up in the toaster oven. And we'll do the test afterwards. Alright guys, so now I'm going to, as I promised, just put a bit of the Lightlife in the pan and the Beyond and just kind of try to saute it up and see how they each crumble. Let's start this one off. And of course, because this one is kind of shaped and formed just like ground beef in a package. This seems to start to crumble easily. Now adding Beyond Meat. Okay, so I just initially with 2 hands tried to crumble that. Now I'm using 1 hand and holding the camera. I have it on a medium heat, but the pan is nice and hot, so it is crumbling up. It's just not necessarily crumbling in the exact same way the Lightlife is crumbling, which is, you know, not a bad thing. I was kind of worried it wouldn't crumble, but you know, you could definitely, I feel like you're going to get kind of chunks. I don't know if you saw that. I just saw like one of those white pools of, I guess, coconut oil kind of oozing. That's where that extra fat comes from in the Beyond Meat for sure. So you're going to have more of a, not a challenge, but like you're going to have more, see, like a clump like that, and you're going to have to go in and crush it more to get a crumble texture to this. Now, I didn't put anything on these. I didn't put any salt in this. Back to this one. Let's cook this one up a little bit more. Maybe I'll add a tiny bit of flavoring to that and just give it a taste. But I am going to put this into my meat sauce. I think it's going to be very clear to tell which is which, because these ones are definitely more kind of chunk pieces. But still would work well, you know, in whatever you're making, in terms of like a burrito or some other kind of thing. You can see as well, I think, there's more fat coming from this and there's less fat from that, but that just makes sense based on the ingredients. Alright, let me just show you them sizzling in the toaster oven right here. So this is the Lightlife. And this is the Beyond Meat. And this is the bottom of what you get in this Lightlife package. You get this, that paper that looks just like how they package beef. So they've really done everything they can to make this feel familiar to meat eaters. And you know, I think that's the target audience, really is meat eaters. For vegans, we have something now we can cook, but you know, they want meat eaters to feel and believe this is as good as meat, especially with the protein content. Alright guys, remember I said I didn't season any of this at all. And I just took a tiny piece of this Beyond one, and as I tasted it, I went, wow. So with nothing on this, this has a secret flavor to it. And the texture, oh my gosh, that chewy texture, this is honestly just like beef, but like a nicely flavored beef. I'd like to taste this and compare it to the Impossible one as well, which I expect to also be drier. And this is the Lightlife. Okay, again, no seasoning on either of these. Okay, I think the best way to describe it, doesn't quite have the same chewiness of the Beyond Beef. And it has a meaty flavor, but it's just like I think I said before, it's almost like, at least especially compared to this, like a different kind of meat. You know, like it's like meat and it's satisfying if you want a meat kind of mouthfeel, but it's just not quite the same as the Beyond. I'm going to maybe have my daughter come and give it a taste and give her perspective on that, because she's really good at kind of narrowing down flavors and textures and all that good stuff. Alright, so I have my daughter here, and you can either use the fork, Chloe, or you're right over there, and taste one first, whichever one you want first. Just a little bit, yeah. So that's the Lightlife. The color gives it away. What's your impression?
It tastes good.
What does it taste like? Does it taste like beef?
Sort of, not entirely.
Like a different kind of meat. Okay, great. Oh, hurry, taste the other one.
Oops.
Because the battery looks like it's suddenly dying. No one said to take that much.
Oh.
That was exactly my reaction when I tasted it. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And with nothing on there.
Yeah.
And it has that mouthfeel of like the chewiness. Like this is just, how do they do it? It's fantastic. Yeah, that's like a complete night and day difference. Not night and, it is though. Like you taste the beef, like that is a solid, you don't need to eat beef when you have Beyond Meat. You just don't. Alright guys, so I think you did hear the rest of that comment. I thought the camera battery had died, but it was saying change the battery pack. So this is the Lightlife. This is the Beyond Meat. And I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna cut both and I'm gonna let my sister happens to be here as well. Okay, so let's see the texture. I cooked these for 10 minutes in the toaster oven, so that's a bit more crumbly. Remember, it was drier. It's still okay. And we know already which one is the best one. So I'm gonna get the non-vegan folks here. Okay, wow, look at, I don't know if you can see that. Well, I'll just hold this up here. See the consistency as well? You know, like this looks like a meatball. You know, that looks like, you couldn't tell anyone it's not a meatball. These look like maybe, I don't know, I don't want to say veal, but something else. Pork maybe? But you know, it is a meat, but it's just different. So when I get my sister here, I want her to try a piece, and I want my mother to try a piece. And I'll let them tell you which one they like better. Alright, so I have my mother here, and I want her to try... Take this one first, Mom. How do you feel about that one?
It's very tasty.
Okay.
It's moist and holding good together.
Okay. And now this is the Beyond Meat one.
You spice them differently?
No. I did them the same. What do you think?
This one seemed to be a bit nicer.
Yeah. That's what we thought too. Yeah, the Beyond one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tastes... It does. We clearly think it tastes nicer, but we tasted. The other one is nice, but we tasted that, and then we're this is.
This is nicer.
Okay. All right. So that's 3 of us think that the Beyond Meat one is nicer, and I'll have my sister come and she can do the taste test, and give you her opinion as well. All right. Thanks, Mom. All right. Now I have my sister here to try. Any particular one you want to try first?
Oh, okay, they're different. Well, I guess this one's closer, so
okay, try that one.
I will try. Which one is this?
I'll tell you after you try it. I guess it doesn't matter, but I'll just tell you.
This is good.
Okay.
They're always good what you make, but
Okay, so I'm doing a good comparison between the Lightlife vegan ground beef and the Beyond Meat vegan ground beef. So you like that one? All right, now try the other one.
This tastes charbroiled. What? Sorry, I can't speak. What is it? Charbroiled, we call it?
Well, I did everything the same. What's the flavor like?
It's like a barbecue.
No, sorry. In terms of your taste preference.
Oh, which one do I like better?
Yeah.
This one.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the same.
Absolutely.
So 4 out of 4 of us prefer the Beyond Meat one.
It's so good I have to get the little crumbs.
But both will work in your vegan cooking if you want a meat substitute. If right now you're concerned about if you're excited about the 2-for-1 for the Lightlife, definitely pick them up at Sobeys because that's a great, and it's a great price. But the Beyond Meat really got the wow reaction from all of us. It's juicy. It's just, come on, Beyond Meat. We love Beyond Meat in this house. We appreciate all vegan options, but you know what? Beyond Meat is definitely the winner. And we don't need to do anything else because I'm going to just eat my dinner. But let me just once again show you the packages of both of them. And I'll show you the meatballs. And that's all for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And what are your thoughts? Have you tried both? Which do you prefer? And that's all for now, guys. See you in the next video.